Two and you, okay. Good evening. We have a quorum. And welcome to the Town of Rowley's annual town meeting. At this time, will the chairman of the Board of Selectmen lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag?
Certainly, Mr. Moderator. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I'd like to call Reverend Bob from the First Congregational Church.
Thank you, Madam Moderator, Madam Town Clerk, Honorable Selectmen and staff. Before I open with our prayer tonight, I thought it would be appropriate to have a moment of silence for a man who served our veterans and their families here in Rowley and in our region. I, of course, am speaking about Terry Hart, who passed away very unexpectedly this past Friday. I worked personally with him for many years, helping veterans, and I can tell you that he was dedicated to each and every one of them, and I have never met a more devoted man to those who served the cause of freedom. Let us now have a moment of silence, please, in honor and memory of Terry Hart, himself a Coast Guard veteran. Thank you. Let us be together in prayer. O God of freedom, we thank you for the freedom you have given us, for this life that we share together. We thank you for our community of Rowley, for our rich history, founded in faith. And Lord, we thank you especially that in this time, this 375th year of our existence as a town, we are grateful to you for your continuing guidance, for your wisdom and your peace. We thank you, Lord, for the leaders of our community who have taken on the responsibility of serving us. And we thank you for each and every member of our community, those who are here, those who may not be able to be here, but those who participate in the life of our town. It's what keeps us free. Lord, we thank you and pray your blessing and your wisdom. We ask this in your holy name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bob.
Madam Moderator, I move to allow the following non-resident individuals permission to speak, if called upon, during the May 5th, 2014 special town meeting. Judith Pickett, Town Council. Deborah Egan, Town Administrator. Conservation Agent, Brent Baselick. Fire Chief, James Broderick. Pamela Jacobson, Library Director. Coordinator of Health Services, Frank Mangiani. Town Planner, Kurt Baker. Principal Assessor, Sean McFadden. Building Inspector, Ken Ward. Highway Surveyor, Ron Keefe. Light Plant Manager, Dan Folding. William DeRosa, Whittier Vocational Technical School Superintendent. Christopher Farmer, Triton Regional School District Superintendent. Brian Forget, Triton Regional School District Assistant Superintendent. State Representative Brad Hill, Senator Tarr, Bruce Tarr. Kara Cosmos, Whittier Business Manager. Ann Gagnon, Mass Fisheries and Wildlife.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. If there's any objections to this, all those signify by saying aye, that the visitors are seated over here to my left. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
7:50.
I'd like to let you know that I will be using town meeting time, the town bylaws, and then if all else fails, we'll try and use some common sense on these articles. It is a,
Madam Moderator, may I make an amendment to the permission to speak, and also Dave Santamenta, Essex Greenbelt.
okay. We have one.
Second.
We have one amendment to the people that might have to speak on any of the articles. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
751.
It is a lengthy 2 warrant special and the annual. I hope to finish in one night. If we don't, I want you all to promise you're coming back here again tomorrow night. So it depends on you how we go, if we're back here tomorrow night or not. All right? We're going to start by opening up the warrant for the special town meeting. Can I have that amendment?
Oh, that's...
So, I'm sorry.
Can I have the amendment that he just
Yes.
adding there to me? Town of Rowley, Commonwealth of Massachusetts, warrant for special town meeting, May 5th, 2014, Essex. To the constables of the town of Rowley and the county of Essex, greetings. In the name of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, you are hereby notified to warn the inhabitants of the town of Rowley qualified to vote in elections and in town affairs to meet in the Pine Grove School, Route 1A, on Monday, the 5th day of May, 2014, at 7:30 p.m., then and there to act on the following articles.
Madam Moderator, I move to suspend the further reading of the May 5th, 2014 special town meeting warrant because town meeting members have a copy of this warrant.
Second.
Yes. Okay, yes. Thank you. I want to make sure everybody in here has a copy of the warrant, and the special is in the back side. It's after, there's 16 pages of the regular town warrant meeting, and then it starts with the special. So has everybody got a copy of this? All right, it's been moved and seconded to suspend the reading of the warrant because everybody has a copy. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
753.
Okay. Article 1 and 2 are non-binding, and they are active for any time here during the course of the evening. Article 3?
Madam Moderator, I move the town suspend the town meeting, the application of the Section 19 and Section 20 town meeting bylaws pertaining to the reconsideration of all money articles, such suspension intended for the specific purpose to balance the total level of funds raised and appropriated within the limitations of Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 59, Section 21C, Proposition 2.5, so-called, and give blanket warning hereby that any money article may, at the end of the meeting and after all articles have been acted upon, be moved for reconsideration in order to balance the total level of funds raised and appropriated within the limitations of Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 59, Section 21C.
Second.
Article 3. Any, Nope. All those in favor of Article 3 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Article 3 passes.
755.
Article 4.
Madam Moderator, Article 4, I move the town vote to transfer and appropriate the sum of $4,000 from line 146, Essex Regional Retirement, of Article 5 of the annual town meeting of May 2nd, 2013, to be added to line 7, Selectmen's Expense, of Article 5 of the annual town meeting of May 6, 2013, to pay for the expense occurred to hold the May 5th, 2014 annual and special town meeting for a total appropriation of $22,117.
Second.
Jack, it's printed here, both of them say May 6th of 2013. You read, I think, was it the 3rd I heard, or the 2nd?
Second.
Second that I
Second.
heard? What you read, it's the 6th, right?
Yes, that's what it is.
I know it is last year's budget. These folks said 6, and he says a different date. The 6th and the 6th, he said the 3rd. Okay, just for clarification. All right, just for clarification.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, I heard a different date, but it's both May 6th of 2013. This is so that special town meeting is to balance the end of this year's fiscal year budget by doing a lot of these transfers and moving. Finance Committee?
Finance Committee recommends this article.
All righty, thank you. Anybody from the Board of Selectmen need to speak on this, or we're all set? Okay. All those in favor of Article 4 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes.
757.
Article 5.
Madam Moderator, I move the town vote to transfer and appropriate the sum of $29,866 from line 12, collective bargaining reserve of Article 5 of the May 6, 2013 annual town meeting to pay for costs associated with collective bargaining agreements.
Second.
Finance Committee?
Finance Committee recommends this article.
Okay. Any questions on this? All those in favor of Article 5 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It's unanimous.
758.
Article 6.
Madam Treasurer?
Who has the motion for Article 6?
Motion for Article 6. Supposed to be.
Who has the motion for Article 6?
It's supposed to be Karen?
She says she doesn't have the motion. Okay.
Madam Moderator, Article 6, I move the town vote to transfer and appropriate the sum of $2,500 from line 27, Administrative Assistant Collector Wages of Article 5 of the May 6, 2013 Annual Town Meeting to be added to Article 6 of the May 6, 2013 Special Town Meeting to be used by the Treasurer Collector for the purpose of microfilming and archiving the permanent records of the Treasurer Collector as defined by the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Municipal Retention Schedule.
Second.
Finance Committee?
Finance Committee recommends this article.
Any questions? All those in favor of Article 6 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Article 6 passes.
8 o'clock.
Article 7.
Madam Moderator, Article 7, I move the town vote to transfer and appropriate the sum of $1,500 from line 146, Essex Regional Retirement, to line 6, CPA Administrator Stipend of Article 5 of the May 6, 2013 Annual Town Meeting for a total appropriation of $3,500.
Second.
Finance Committee?
Finance Committee recommends this article.
Any questions on Article 7? All those in favor of Article 7 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 7 passes unanimously.
801.
Article 8.
Madam Moderator, I move the town vote to transfer and appropriate the sum of $3,659.75 from Line 8, the Water Department Maintenance, of Article 6 of the annual town meeting of May 6, 2013, to be added to Line 26, cost of debt insurance, for Article 6 of the annual town meeting of May 6, 2013, for a total appropriation of $88,659.75. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Stu Dalzell.
Would you sign both, get those 2 signatures on there, please? Finance Committee,
Finance Committee recommends this article.
are there any questions on Article 8? If you notice at the bottom of most of these articles, there is a little explanatory note to kind of explain it a little bit more in detail of what the transfers are for and why they needed to happen. All those in favor of Article 8 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Article 8 passes.
803.
Article 9.
Madam Moderator, I move the town vote to appropriate $171,200 to be expended by the Board of Selectmen for the purpose of undertaking the following capital purchases and improvements. $42,200 for purchasing and installing computer software programs and other technological upgrades for the following departments: Accounting, Treasurer Collector, Conservation Commission, Board of Selectmen, Police Department, Fire Department, and Library Department. Item 2, $71,000 for the upgrades to the following facilities: replacing rotted areas of the town wharf, painting the exterior of the Rowley Public Library, purchasing and installing a new handicap door, and constructing and installing an awning at the handicap entrance at Town Hall, replacing the handicap door at the Town Hall Annex, purchasing and installing new flooring for the Town Hall, and upgrading the Cemetery Department building, and $58,000 for the purchase of an automobile for the Council on Aging and a tractor for the Cemetery Department, including the payments of all costs incidental and related thereto, and that to meet this appropriation, the treasurer, with the approval of the Board of Selectmen, is authorized to borrow said amount under the pursuit of Chapter 44, Section 7 of the general laws, or purchase to any other enabling authority and issue bonds or notes of the town therefore. The Board of Selectmen is authorized to take any and all action necessary to carry out this project.
Second?
Finance Committee,
Finance Committee recommends this article.
this article requires a 2/3 vote. If I do not feel it is a 2/3 vote, we will have to have a hand count. All those in favor of Article 9 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It's unanimous.
805.
Thank you. Article 10.
Madam Moderator, I move the town vote to, 1, rescind Article 10 of the November 4th, 2013, a special town meeting, which authorized the Council on Aging and the Chief Procurement Officer to dispose of the 2005 Chevrolet van by trading it in, and to appropriate the proceeds of the sale towards the purchase of a minivan, and 2, to authorize the Council on Aging and Chief Procurement Officer to dispose of the 2005 Chevy van and deposit the proceeds into the general fund.
Second?
Finance Committee recommends.
Thank you. Any questions on Article 10? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It's unanimous. 806. Article 11.
Madam Moderator, Article 11, I move the town vote to transfer and appropriate the sum of $60,000 from Article 20 of the May 2nd, 2005 Annual Town Meeting, Town Hall First Floor Restoration, to be added to Article 21 of the November 13th, 2006 Special Town Meeting, Town Hall Windows, for a current appropriation of $69,660 of community preservation funds to be used by the Board of Selectmen to purchase, install, and/or restore the remaining 6 windows on the second floor of Town Hall and to replace several first-floor windows.
Second.
Finance Committee recommends.
Thank you. Any questions on Article 11? All those in favor of Article 11 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Article 11 passes.
807.
Article 12.
Madam Moderator, I move the town vote pursuant to Mass General Laws, Chapter 44B, to transfer and appropriate from the Community Preservation Fund Historic Resources Reserve and/or the Community Preservation Unreserved Account the sum of $12,000 to be added to Article 16 of the May 6, 2013 Special Town Meeting, Town Hall Annex Exterior Project, to cover the unforeseen costs associated with this project for a total appropriation of $147,000.
Second.
One of the issues we ran into when we started doing the Town Hall Annex Restoration Project was we found some rotted sills. And this $12,000 will cover the replacement of those sills that were unforeseen at the time, unknowing that there had been some decay there. So if you vote this, then we'll finish up the Town Hall Annex project, and I don't know what you folks think, but I think it looks great.
We all do. Finance Committee?
Finance Committee recommends this article.
Considering that my children went to kindergarten over there, I think that's the best the building's looked in about 40 years. So it's been worth every penny.
It sure has. And believe it or not, the building is very sound. We were very surprised that we didn't find more decay in the sills. It was just a couple of spots that we found that we felt that needed to be replaced.
All those in favor of Article 12 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously.
809.
Article 13.
Madam Moderator, Article 13, I move the town vote to indefinitely postpone Article 13.
Second it.
Okay. Are there any questions on Article 13 being postponed? All those in favor of Article 13 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous.
810.
Article 14.
Madam Moderator, I move the Board of Selectmen, with the approval of the Community Preservation Committee, are authorized to purchase a parcel of land known as the Girl Scout Camp, described as a portion of Assessors Map 18, Lot 7, consisting of approximately 206.94 acres, is shown on Assessors records more or less under the Community Preservation Act, Mass General Law 44B, for one or more of the following uses, so long as the areas designated for separate purposes shall be clearly identified and delineated. A, acquisition, creation, and preservation of open space. B, acquisition, creation, and preservation of land for recreational and outdoor environmental education. And C, rehabilitation or restoration of such open space land for recreational use. That the town appropriates $2,500,000 to pay costs of this acquisition, including the payment of all costs, incidental and related thereto, and that to meet this appropriation, $1,700,000 is appropriated from available funds in the Community Preservation Fund, and the treasurer, with the approval of the selectmen, is authorized to borrow $800,000 under and pursuant to Chapter 44, Section 7, 3, and Chapter 44B of the general laws, or pursuant to any other enabling authority, and to issue bonds, notes of the town, therefore, and that the Board of Selectmen be authorized to file on behalf of the town of Rowley any and all applications deemed necessary under the Self-Help Act, Chapter 132A, Section 11, or any other appropriation of funds in any way connected with the scope of this acquisition, and to further authorize the Board of Selectmen to enter into a release agreement for a portion of the property for recreational purposes, convey all or part of the land to a care, custody, and control of the Conservation Commission and/or the Board of Selectmen, and to convey easements and conservation restrictions for proceeds of any conveyances to be used to reimburse the town for the cost of this acquisition.
Second?
Finance Committee?
Finance Committee recommends this article.
Okay. Are there any questions on this? If anybody wants to come up and speak regarding this, form a line over here. You need to state your name and your address and bring up your concerns or your questions. I am going to request a paper ballot on this, only because I think it would not be fair for pitting anybody one against the other. So if there are any questions on this article, please step forward and present your concerns. Well, you got to come forward.
Presentation.
Oh, I'm sorry. You should just give us a minute. I forgot we have a presentation on this, Brent. I'm sorry. I haven't had enough chocolate yet. It is dark chocolate, you're right. Okay.
Do you want to sit here, Joe?
We had to send an electrician to get the lights down.
Good evening. My name is Brent Bazelak. I serve the town of Rowley as the conservation agent. Thank you. I'd like to introduce you to the property specifically known as the Girl Scouts, and I believe in the past it's been called Camp Pentacook. It's on 390 Weathersfield Street. And according to our assessor's information, there's approximately 207 acres there, although by deed it is expressed as 186, I believe. In somewhere around the time period of 1965, there was 3 parcels of land that were combined by, I believe it was called the Hawthorne Girl Scout Council. These properties were from historic Rowley families, names that you will recognize today: Dodge, Smith, and Batchelder. For many years, they operated summer camp, Camp Pentacook, on the property, which consisted of a number of buildings, 5, shower house, 5 tenting areas, an in-ground swimming pool, which is really nice for a summer camp that has tenting areas, pavilion, baseball field, basketball court, and an outdoor skills area, which involves ropes and climbing and that kind of obstacle course type thing. Of this property, there's approximately 85% of it that is not developed, does not have buildings or infrastructure on it. This is showing the boundaries of town line to the bottom. It's with Ipswich. Town line to the top is with Newbury. And this is kind of the geographic heart of Rowley, which is a large forested area. Here we have Route 1. Here we have Haverhill Street. Probably recognize Rowley Country Club. And specifically, as we get a little closer, coming in from up above, this is the boundary of the Girl Scout property. I'm not quite exactly sure what you would call this outline, but here is the small frontage area on Weathersfield Street.
Actually, Mr. Bazelak, I believe that that's the fellow standing there with his thumb up, saying, "Good work."
Right. There we go. Check his water bottle. And just to put in context why this property should be considered for acquisition by the town of Rowley, I'm sorry that the boundary lines don't show up, but in the last few years, well, for many years, there's been consistent effort by the town and the Conservation Commission to add conserved properties. There's conservation space, open space right here along Smith Lane. There's... I'm terribly sorry. Yes, thank you. I apologize. I can't operate the pointer, though. So, so as I was trying to say, there are some previously conserved properties that are adding to a contiguous corridor along the Batchelder Brook stream corridor. And on the other side of the property, there is another wetland system. And just to the north here, I believe Essex County Greenbelt recently purchased some properties. And there's also some conserved properties along the Mill River that the town of Rowley already preserves and protects. As we get a little closer, although the imagery is a little dark here, this is showing the proximity to the zoned area for commercial, light commercial and industrial development along the Route 1 Newburyport Turnpike corridor. You can also see some of the previously farmed and pastured areas around here. Most of the Girl Scout parcel is forested and has substantial forest cover. Very recently, through the efforts of the Selectman's Office and Essex County Greenbelt, we invited the public to a walk to see the property. This is just a viewscape for postcard that Greenbelt was nice enough to mail to members of the community. And now as we utilize the town's pictometry or aerial imagery, we get a little closer to the portion of the property where the camp buildings and the pool is located. And this is all in very close proximity to the frontage along Weathersfield Street. As you drive by, you may have noticed the sign that says the center. This is not a hidden complex. This is just what the Girl Scouts decided to have for the signage on their dirt parking area. This is an example of one of the buildings that previously has been used for office and meeting space. There's another building right now that is occupied year-round by a caretaker to maintain security and a presence on the property. And this is the pool with currently a pool cover on it. And then this is an example of a pavilion building that has covered area picnic tables for food preparation and consuming the food in inclement weather. And then this is the obstacle or rope course area of the camp. And I know pictures of open fields are not necessarily that entertaining, but there is a backstop here so you can guess that this is the ball field that is located on the property. Thank you very much.
All right, you can come forward now and ask your questions.
How'd you do that?
I actually don't have a question, I have a comment.
Okay, but I need to first to know, have your name and your address, please.
Sure. My name is Christina Hoffman. I live at 243 Newbury Road in Rowley.
Okay, go ahead,
Thank you.
make your comment.
I wanted to come tonight to note my support for the purchase of this property. I know that there are varying opinions out there regarding the protection of this piece of open space, and I wanted to just draw attention to some recent studies that were done regarding the economic benefits of maintaining open space versus allowing them to be developed into residential development. And residential development does actually bring in a new tax base. They bring in new taxes that are paid each year. But there are studies out there that are actually showing that the amount of burden that residential properties bring to a town can actually outweigh the actual taxes that are paid by them each year. If properties are developed, that is new people, new populations coming into the town, which is using the infrastructure, the transportation infrastructure, the roadways that are getting more use on them, therefore requiring more operation, maintenance, and replacement. They also require town hall services and other town services that require a more robust budget to maintain those services for the population. On the contrary, and on the flip side, open space is actually an attractant, brings in people temporarily to come in and use recreational properties, and then they also support the local businesses that are in town as well. So I just wanted to make the economic, at least draw attention to the economic benefits of having more open space in a town, and that's all.
Thank you. Next.
Stanley Sleepaway, 27 Dodge Road. My first question is, has an appraisal been done on this property, and where did the value come from?
Okay. Somebody from the board want to address that?
Yes, there was 2 appraisals done. Actually, the Girl Scouts did one of their own. Came out at $3.1 million. The town hired an appraiser, did our own appraisal, came out at $2.9 million. We sat down with the Girl Scouts. We made them an offer, $2,500,000. They accepted it.
Second question is, there's borrowing that is involved to make up the difference?
The $800,000, yes.
And will that be as an override on the town?
I don't believe so.
No.
Would it be a
Karen?
debt exclusion?
It's going to be a borrowing. It's bonding.
Karen, could you just state your name and your position, please?
Karen Summit, Town Treasurer Collector. The borrowing is going to be paid for with receipts from community preservation that comes with the taxes. So a certain amount for the debt each year will come from the money that the town receives from CPA surcharge on the tax bills.
And lastly, I heard in there that it had specific uses for the property, passive recreation, some rental potential. Does it exclude the possibility of other public uses, such as the need for an additional public school in the system? Could the space, any of the space, be used for, say, a future middle school in Rowley?
Actually, I think because we're using the CPC funding, it has to be held to those 4 categories that are eligible for CPC funding. Schools are not one of those.
It's all part of the law for community preservation money.
And could any portion of that be sold to the town for a future school use?
Madam Moderator?
Yes.
Yeah, in other words, if the town wants to use some of this property for a non-permitted use, the town would have to pay back the CPC out of its tax money and appraise whatever the appraised value is for the land to be taken, so as if it was a regular transaction. CPC money is required by state law to be used for those designated areas, and the intent here is, to be perfectly honest with you, I don't see any near need for the construction of a school on that property. There's no talk of that, and there's no with the student population being what it is and Triton being right there, we're not anticipating any future school construction in the next few years anyway.
I'm just looking in 25 years down the road with this property right adjacent to our active recreation area. So
At that point, Stan, it would be speculation. I mean, who knows what the laws are going to be in 25 years from now? If it becomes a need. and
then
if
we
there-
could revisit it at that time.
Exactly, and if there's a way to do it, then we could do it. But we can't really answer that question at this point in time.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, next.
Hi, Libby Tucker, 186 Central Street. I just had some questions about maintenance of buildings and what provisions are going to be made for keeping somebody on grounds to protect the area like it is being maintained now, and maintenance of the pool, other kinds of areas. I'm certainly for open space preservation, but if there are buildings and such, what kind of things are we going to have to encounter down the road? Thank you.
Yeah, Madam Moderator?
Yes.
The intent here is, understanding, and you saw the pool and all the buildings, the Girl Scout building, there is a single-family house out there now that is used by the Girl Scouts. They have a caretaker that takes care of the property. Our intent is not to utilize these buildings ourselves. We're hoping to put out an RFP, RFI, if we purchase this property. And we have had discussions with the YMCA in Ipswich. They are extremely excited, to say the least, about the potential of entering into an agreement with the town that they would upkeep the camp area, take care of the buildings, in return for just a small sum or a token sum, so that part of the camp would be maintained as a camp. And they really want to do this, and the Board of Selectmen, I know, and the Finance Committee, we've discussed this, and, we're excited about the fact that we could keep this as a camp, gives our kids and kids from surrounding towns some recreational activities, swimming in the pool, camping, hiking. They want to do a year-round use of the buildings out there for exercise programs, a variety, any variety. The Y in Ipswich is they have many Rowley residents there. It's a very progressive and active program, and they want to expand that to Rowley if, in fact, we can work out a deal with them. So that we're not looking to take care of the buildings ourselves. And in fact, we really don't have the means to do that, and that's why we'll be looking to enter into an agreement with someone like the Y to maintain the buildings, run the camp, and then we'll maintain the other areas there.
Okay.
Hi, my name's Phil Town, and I live at 22 Bennett Hill Road, and I'm here tonight thinking that this is probably one of the biggest nights for Rowley in a long, long time. And I've only been here 5 years. We moved to Rowley. My wife and I moved here about 5 years ago, and a big part of the reason was it reminded me of where I grew up, and it was a town that kind of lost its way. It was a place that had farms and a lot going for it, and then a lot of big houses came about over the years, and it's nothing like what I remember as a child. And I moved here because I think some of that's still here. And I think that the biggest portion of land that we could possibly preserve is sitting right in the center, the geographic center of Rowley. And I have a 3-year-old, and I hope I can tell her tomorrow that Rowley stood up and did the right thing and saved a big, huge future place for both the animals and for the kids, and maybe, the council, for aging. I could see this as being a village within a village, a community center, a place that maybe the old can teach the young crafts that are quickly being lost, whether it's knitting or archery or you name it. The sky's the limit, but we have to see down the road that this is the thing that can bring this town together in a big, big way. We need a community center. That's the one thing I've been talking about for the last 3 or 4 years now. And wouldn't it be great to bring every generation together in one place It would be an amazing thing for Rowley, and I hope we don't miss a great opportunity. And I think you guys are going to do the right thing.
Thank you.
Madam Moderator?
Yes.
I'm sorry, I apologize for getting here late. I wasn't here at the beginning of the discussion, but I just want to emphasize, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for this town. This is a huge, huge piece of prime real estate. If we don't buy it, I'll guarantee you that it's going to end up being 40 to 50 housing developments out there. So that it's a situation that we have an opportunity to buy this land, to maintain recreation, open space. It's contiguous with other town recreation and conservation land. To add to that, it's a situation whereby we have the funding available without adding to your tax rate, which is a real bonus as far as we're concerned. And secondly, this land right now is tax-free because the Girl Scouts have it. So therefore, we're not taking land out of the tax base. This is just a transfer of tax-free space from the Girl Scouts to us, so that we're not, a lot of times we buy a piece of property, we're taking it off the tax rolls. In this case, it's a wash. And it's, like I say, it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I wouldn't anticipate there'll be another opportunity to buy a piece of land of this quality and this magnitude in the town of Rowley, and it's just an opportunity I hope that you'll support, and we'll move forward on. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. In light of the questions that were asked, instead of doing a paper ballot, it has to be a 2/3 vote. I'm going to ask for a voice count, and if we have to, then we will do either a hand count or a paper ballot, but I'm going to kind of see if we can do this without having to do a paper ballot, because as people know, that does take some time.
Madam Moderator?
Yes.
Just, if I could say just one more thing before we
Yes.
vote. When we started the meeting tonight, Reverend Bob gave us a benediction. In that benediction, he mentioned the 375th anniversary of the town of Rowley, which is pretty good. You know, been around that long. Things seem to have worked out pretty well. And the thought came to me when he said that. What better thing could we give our future generation? And what will our future generation think if we purchase this property? That these guys that sat down there, they were kind of hicky when they were there back in 2015, 14. But hey, they stepped up and they did this for us, and now we can enjoy it. So please keep that in mind when you cast that vote. You know, the future generation of this town will really, really enjoy that piece of property. Thank you.
Okay.
May I just add, as Vice Chairman Murray has said, has now called it the Rowley Thumbs Up property?
Yes.
Now that is known. Again, I have to say, as the Vice Chair has said, in 100 years from now, they'll look back and they'll say, those people, they might have been so 2,000, but they did the right thing. And again, if you look on the map, it's right middle of the town. It's a choice piece of property, open space, and maintains the character of our town. So again.
Okay, so let's see. All those in favor of the passing of Article 14 signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you very much, really. Thank you. Before we go on to Article 15, oh, wait a minute, Sue?
8:35.
We do have a public service announcement from our harbor master, but I also would like to recognize that Representative Brad Hill is here in the audience for us, and we know he's had a long, hard winter, but we are very grateful that he's here for us tonight. Would you like to say anything, or you're fine?
You guys are going so good right now, I'm not going to ruin it.
Thank you, sounds good. Bill Demento, do you have a public service announcement? We were going to do this during the counting of the paper ballot, but Bill promises me he'll be brief.
Very brief, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Bill Demento. I'm the harbor master in Rowley and have been since 1979. Just wanted the boaters in town, those that use the Rowley River, to know we marked the river yesterday at 7 o'clock in the morning. I saw it coming last fall that there would be some substantial changes in the channel coming up, which Mother Nature does some crazy things over the wintertime, especially when we have a fair amount of ice. And the channel has changed substantially. When you leave, those boaters who use the river, when you leave the mooring area after the railroad bridge, down beyond Ruth Batchelor's house, about 300 yards beyond that, you used to take a cut in between a small island. That cut now turns to the right and goes around that island. Rowley, by the way, inherited a fair amount of extra clamming space because of this as well, but so the clammers will be pretty excited. But the town line goes right down through the center of the channel. The important note that I wanted to make is that now that the channel goes on the other side of that island, there is some ledge on the other side of that island. If you do not stay on the right side of the buoys, you will do substantial damage to your boat. So please pay attention. Red right return from the ocean is what you should remember. And I just wanted everybody to pass the word to your fellow boaters to let them know that we have a major change. One happened about 15 years ago, and that change wasn't as notable. There weren't any rocks in the area. It was all sand halfway down the river. But this change is very notable, and you will see as you traverse at low tide a large piece of ledge, which we're going to put some additional signage over the ledge just to help people out. But enjoy.
Thank you. Article 15 is in order.
Madam Moderator, I move the town vote pursuant to Mass General Laws, Chapter 44B, vote to transfer and appropriate from the Community Preservation Fund Open Space Reserve and/or the Community Preservation Unreserved Account the sum of $40,000 to be used by the Board of Selectmen to pay for the following costs. Items related to the purchase of the Girl Scouts land is cited in Article 14, survey of property, legal work, and grant writing consulting.
Second.
Finance Committee?
Finance Committee recommends this article.
Article 15 has been moved and seconded. Are there any questions on it? All those in favor of Article 15 signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Article 15 passes.
838.
Article 16 is in order.
Madam Moderator, Article 16, I move the town vote to transfer and appropriate the sum of $100,000 from the sale of real estate account to be used by the Board of Selectmen to perform a feasibility study of a new fire station and police station addition in the area of the current police station.
Second.
Finance Committee?
Finance Committee recommends this article.
Any questions on Article 16? All those, yes.
Good evening. Richard Gagnon, 74 Bennett Hill Road. And I'm also the chairman of the Rowley Fire Station Committee. Couple of things, because while this is a very important article, it doesn't give any of the background that I feel you should know, that this is something that a committee of 8 had been working on for several years. In November 10th, 2010, the Rowley Board of Selectmen put together a Rowley Fire Station Committee. And the committee was made up of myself, Jay Szymanski, Tom Heidgard, Bob Snow, Janet Bridges, Doug Chadbourne, Chief Broderick, and Tom Marsh. Now, for 2 years, this committee has been meeting and working diligently to try to come up with significant alternatives or solutions to the current problem. We've made several presentations to the Board of Selectmen, and we've certainly done, I feel, our due diligence in trying to come to some form of resolution. We've taken it as far as we can take it, and this article allows us to go into the next step. So I just wanted you to know that while this article may seem cut and dried, there's a history behind it
that has gone on since 2010. And I want to recognize my board members and the Board of Selectmen for the effort and the work and the dedication that they have put into this effort to try to come up with a solution for the town's problem. Thank you.
Any other questions or concerns? All righty. Article 16, I did ask for the Finance Committee, right?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. Article 16 is in order. All those in favor of Article 16 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? 16 passes.
841.
Article 17.
Madam Moderator, I move the town to transfer,
Robert Barker, Chief of Police. I move that the town vote to transfer and appropriate the sum of $634.80 from line 146, Essex Regional Retirement of Article 5 of the annual town meeting of May 6, 2013, to be added to the E911 grant fund to pay for unexpected shortfall in the E911 grant reimbursement for the state of fiscal 2013.
Second.
second?
Finance Committee?
Finance Committee recommends this article.
Okay. Any questions on Article 17? All those in favor of Article 17 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Article 17 passes.
842.
Article 18.
Madam Moderator, I move the town vote to accept as a town way the laying out by the Board of Selectmen of the private way known as Gerzac Lane, situated on the southerly sideline of Havel Street and running an approximately distance of 600 feet, as shown on a plan entitled Street Acceptance Plan, Gerzac Lane, Rowley, Mass. This being the roadway shown on a plan entitled Definitive Plan, recorded with Essex South Registry of Deeds as Plan 6 in Plan Book 348, and to authorize the Board of Selectmen to acquire by gift, deed, or eminent domain the land, easements, and rights therein.
Second?
There is no recommendation from the Finance Committee. Are there any comments or questions on this or statements? No? Okay. I have been informed that this requires a two-thirds vote. There are seeing no questions. All those in favor of the passing of Article 18 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Article 18 passes unanimously.
844.
Article 19. Okay. Oops.
Good evening. My name is Cliff Pierce. I'm a member of the Rowley Planning Board. I have quite a long article to read, so I hope you will bear with me. Madam Moderator, I move the town vote to amend the Rowley Protective Zoning Bylaw by deleting Section 8.9 of the bylaw, temporary moratorium on registered marijuana dispensaries. Number 2, adding the following new definition to Section 2 of the bylaw as printed in the definitions. Registered marijuana dispensary, RMD, a not-for-profit entity registered by the Massachusetts Department of Public Health under 105 CMR 725.100 that acquires, cultivates, possesses, processes, including the development of related products such as edible marijuana-infused products, tinctures, aerosols, oils or ointments, transfers, transports, sells, distributes, dispenses, or administers marijuana, products containing marijuana, related supplies, or educational materials to registered qualifying patients or their personal caregivers. Unless otherwise specified, RMD refers to the site of dispensing, cultivation, and preparation of marijuana. Number 3, revising Section 4.63I to read as follows, 4.63I, dance halls and theaters, except that no more than one theater is allowed per building, facility, or lot. Number 4, designating Section 4.6.3K as Section 4.6.3M. Number 5, enacting the following new sections, 4.6.3K, registered marijuana dispensaries, except that such dispensaries may not be located within 200 feet of a daycare facility, elementary or secondary school or church or religious assembly. 4.6.3.1, fitness centers, indoor skating rinks, and other indoor recreational facilities, except that the floor area of such facilities may not exceed 20,000 square feet. Number 6, revising Section 4.7.3D to read as follows. 473D, dance halls and theaters, except that no more than one theater is allowed per building, facility, or lot. Number 7, redesignated Section 4.7.3J as Section 4.7.3K. And number 8, enacting the following new section, 473J. 473J, fitness centers, indoor skating rinks, and other indoor recreational facilities, except that the floor area of such facilities may not exceed 20,000 square feet.
Okay.
This article.
Can I just ask you, because this is a zoning change, have you published in notice of this, of this changes, published? were
2
these
successive weeks
two-
before a planning board public hearing, which we held, at which time all members of the planning board unanimously voted to recommend the adoption of the articles at this town meeting.
Okay, thank you. Now you can go ahead.
The changes that this article would make are pretty straightforward, although that's really not indicated by the length of the article. But basically, the article would amend the section of our bylaw that deals with permitted uses. And by that, I mean the types of businesses that are allowed in town. It would add 2 new categories of permitted uses. The first category would be fitness centers and other indoor recreational facilities not to exceed 20,000 square feet. These uses are currently not allowed under the current bylaw. The second category would be that registered marijuana dispensaries would be allowed in the retail district of town, subject to the issuance of a special permit from the planning board. Again, these types of dispensaries are not currently allowed under our zoning bylaw. I'd like to say a few words about the marijuana dispensaries. A couple years, the citizens of Massachusetts voted to legalize the sale of medical marijuana. And the Attorney General of the state has ruled that under this law, a town cannot entirely prohibit these types of dispensaries from locating in the town. However, a town can restrict the dispensaries to certain areas of the town. And that's what this article will do. It would permit registered marijuana dispensaries only in our retail district, which is basically the area around Route 1 and Route 133. These dispensaries are going to be intensely regulated by the state. In fact, one of the provisions in the law is that there can be only 5 dispensaries in all of Essex County. So it seems to me that it's pretty unlikely that we would actually get a dispensary located in Rowley. But we felt that it made sense to anticipate that possibility by revising the bylaw to address that issue, and that's what we're proposing tonight.
Are there any questions on this? Okay. All those in favor of Article 19 signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay. I'm going to call that a unanimous vote. Article 19 passes.
849.
Yes. Article 20.
Yes, thankfully, this article is a lot shorter. Madam Moderator, I move the town will vote to amend Section 4.10 of the Rowley Protective Zoning Bylaw, Floodplain District, as printed in Article 20 on pages 6 and 7 of the May 5th, 2014 Special Town Meeting warrant. Second?
No recommendation for the Finance Committee. I assume you, the 2 consecutive weeks. All righty. Go ahead and explain it.
Yes, this article would amend our floodplain district bylaw, and currently our floodplain zone is defined with reference to the floodplain maps issued by the Federal Emergency Management Agency, or FEMA. As many of you probably know, FEMA has recently gone through the process of revising and updating its floodplain maps, which are going to be effective this July. And essentially, what this article does would be to revise our floodplain district bylaw to incorporate the new updated FEMA maps, which is something that the town has to do in order to maintain its compliance with FEMA requirements.
Are there any questions on Article 20? All those in favor on Article 20 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Article 20 passes.
1051. Okay.
Madam Moderator, I move that town vote to adjourn the May 5th, 2014 special town meeting.
Second.
I have a motion here to adjourn the special town meeting. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Special town meeting is adjourned, and we will now start with the annual town meeting.
Still 852.
8:52.
Madam Moderator, I move to allow the following non-resident individuals permission to speak if called upon during the May 5th, 2014 annual town meeting. Judith Pickett, Town Council. Deborah Egan, Town Administrator. Conservation Agent, Brent Beasley. Fire Chief, James Broderick. Pamela Jacobson, Library Director. Coordinator of Health Services, Frank Manigiani. Town Planner, Kurt Baker. Principal Assessor, Sean McFadden. Building Inspector, Ken Ward. Highway Surveyor, Ron Keefe. Light Plant Manager, Dan Folding. William DeRosa, Whittier Vocational Technical School Superintendent. Christopher Farmer, Triton Regional School District Superintendent. Brian Forget, Triton Regional School District Assistant Superintendent. Brad Hill, State Representative. Senator Bruce Tarr. Cara Cosmos, Whittier Business Manager. Ann Gagnon, Mass Fish and Wildlife.
Second.
Do you want me to do Okay. Okay.
All righty, the list has been read. All those in favor of non-resident speaking that are seated over here to my left signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous. All right.
853.
Article 2 and Article 3 are in.
Do you want me to start reading it?
Yeah, go ahead, I'm sorry.
I
Thanks.
only have one job.
I know. I'm taking your little job.
Town of Rowley, Commonwealth of Massachusetts, warrant for annual town meeting, May 5th, 2014, Essex. To the constables in the town of Rowley and the county of Essex, greetings. In the name of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, you are hereby directed to notify and warn the inhabitants of the town of Rowley, qualified to vote in elections and in town affairs, to meet at the Pine Grove School, Route 1A, on Monday, the 5th day of May, 2014, at 7:30 p.m., and then and there to act upon the following articles.
Madam Moderator, I move to suspend the further reading of the May 5th, 2014 annual town meeting warrant because present town meeting members have a copy of this warrant.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to suspend the reading of the town warrant. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Articles 1 and 2 are non-binding and are on active at all times. And before we start on, why don't you do Article 3, and then you can do before
Okay.
we start the money on Article 4.
Okay. Madam Moderator, I move the town vote to suspend in town meeting the application of Section 19 and Section 20 of the town meeting bylaws pertaining to the reconsideration of all money articles. Such suspension intended for the specific purpose to balance the total level of funds raised and appropriated within the limitations of Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 59, Section 21, Proposition 2.5, so-called, and to give blanket warning hereby that any money article may, at the end of the meeting and after all articles have been acted upon, be moved for reconsideration in order to balance the total level of funds raised and appropriated within the limitations of Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 59, Section 21.
Second.
Article 3, are there any questions on it? All those in favor of Article 3 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Article 3 passes.
856.
Senator Tarr, are you going to come into the hall? Is he still there? Okay, all right, why don't we start with, Chairman of the Board of Selectmen is going to read the financial statement for the town.
At this particular time, I'd like to read the fiscal FY15. This is the revenues and also expenses for the town. Revenues, estimated taxes, $20,758. Estimated state aid, $637,067. Estimated local receipts, $1,306,479. Free cash, $700,000. Other overlay release and water overhead, $189,449, for a total of $15,753,753. Required expenses before town meeting, state assessment, negative $99,245. Allowance for tax abatements, negative $170,000. Prior snow and ice deficit estimate, negative $250,000. Other interest and tax title raised or on recap, library grant, negative $20,600, for a total of negative $539,845. This brings the net revenue to $15,213,908. Less schools, Triton, Whittier, and Essex North Shore Aggie, negative $8,747,993. That is 59.85% of the operating budget for the schools. This brings us down to $6,465,915. Less fixed costs. Debt service, retirement, debt service, negative $370,693. Retirement, Medicare, unemployment, health and liability insurance, negative $1,371,676, which brings us to a negative $1,742,369. This is 11.92% of the operating budget. Stabilization, which we put in every year, $200,000. This is very important to put that in, I feel, every year. Right now, in stabilization, we have $535,000. This will bring us up to $735,000, and I have that old Yankee culture in me to save for the rainy day. So I feel this is very important. This is something that the board has pushed for the last several years, to put as much money as we possibly can into stabilization. Retiree health insurance, negative $150,000. That is OPED. Balance remaining to fund operating budget, $4,373,546. Now, in past years, as you remember, going back 3 years ago, we had a rough year where we had to bring all the department heads in and tell them we had to cut the budget by 2% across the board, all departments. And at that particular time, I was very proud of all these department heads, what they did. They did due diligence, they went out there, and they maintained what they had under very, very difficult financial problems within the town. As we come forward this year, I would say this budget and the way the revenues are and everything else, this is, I would call it a bubble budget. We've had a number of building projects around town, bringing in revenues. So this is something that, it's a bump, it's a bubble. And I don't think that we will see it next year. but I may be wrong. But this is from looking at other budgets in the past, that is my assessment of where we are right now. So with that, Madam Moderator.
All righty. Thank you. Senator Tarr has come into the hall, and I'd like to recognize that he's here. Senator Tarr, would you like to say anything, or you're just happy sitting over there?
Well, thank you very much, Madam Moderator, and through you to your meeting. I know you have a lot to discuss tonight, so I would be content just to say it's an honor to represent the town. I appreciate being with you this evening. And Madam Moderator, it's always a pleasurable experience to be in a meeting where you're presiding.
Thank you. Oh, I don't know, I get it at home, I get it at work. Okay, Article 4 is in order.
Madam Moderator, Article 4, I move the town vote to fix the annual compensation of elected officers of the town as required by Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 41, Section 108, as follows. Moderator, $100. Board of Selectmen, each member, $2,231. Board of Assessors, each member, $2,456. Town Treasurer, Collector of Taxes, $72,640. Town Clerk, $50,842. Planning Board, each member, 0. Tree Warden, $7,323. Surveyor of Highways, $70,163. Municipal Water Board, each member, 0. Trustees of the Free Public Library, 0. Rowley Housing Authority, 0. Municipal Light Board, each member, 0.
Second.
Okay, Finance Committee?
Finance Committee recommends this.
Are there any questions on Article 4?
Stanley Slapoy, 27 Dodge Road. Question to the Chairman of the Selectmen. There is a ballot question next week, whether to keep the position for Tree Warden and Surveyor of Highways elected or appointed by the Board of Selectmen. And if we pass this and that position fails as an elected position, what happens next?
It'll be appointed position by the Board of Selectmen.
So next week, if we vote yes, that means the position is eliminated forever as an elected position. Is that correct?
Madam Moderator?
No, that's not
Okay.
correct.
All right.
It'll be after the term is up.
So it's 1 week.
There will be an assessor elected next Tuesday.
A highway surveyor and a tree warden
Right, they will be elected next,
for a term of only 1 year.
for a term, if it's a 3-year term or a single-year term, depends on when the term runs out.
That,
So maybe to the town clerk, does that term run out in what year, please?
2015.
Scott's term would have run out in 2015. Therefore,
1 year.
the position is filling Scott's term. It'll run out in May of 2015.
So this appropriation is for that remainder 1 year?
That's correct.
Okay.
Mr. Peterson, you wanted to say
Yeah,
something?
Madam Moderator, just to make it clear to people here, next week, yeah, there is 2 questions on the ballot. One to make the tree warden appointed by the Board of Selectmen, and one to make the highway surveyor appointed by the Board of Selectmen. There's also a 1-year position being voted on for highway surveyor for the next fiscal year. So no matter what happens with the appointed position questions, we will elect a new highway surveyor who will be paid the $70,000 plus, and then the tree warden will get the $7,000. If the questions pass, then at the end of that term, which would be at the end of the July 1st of 2015,
May
the Board of Selectmen would appoint those 2 positions. If the situation does not pass, if those 2 questions do not pass, then at next year's annual election, we keep it as it is. The highway surveyor and the tree warden will be elected for a 3-year term, and the compensation will be according to whatever is put in place next year. But whatever happens this year, it's a 1-year election, and the compensation is as printed in the warrant here.
So, not to belabor this, but if it does pass at the annual town election, we will no longer have the choice to elect a tree warden and a surveyor of highways. Is that correct?
That's correct, yes.
Okay. Thank you. I plan on voting no.
Might want to point out just one more thing. If the scenario that Mr. Sleepboy just quoted is true, you still have the chance to vote for the Board of Selectmen. Take your choice.
Okay. Article 4, any other questions? All those in favor on Article 4 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Article 4 passes. Article 5.
907.
I have asked the Finance Committee to read not every single line item. They're going to read the general government and specify how many lines it is, and then they're going to read the subtotal on that, and if there is to be a hold on any of these line items, I need to hear hold, and I will go back, and that person will tell me what line you want to hold on this salary. This is to save time, and instead of reading over, what do we got here, 155 line items. So with that being said, Article 5, Finance Committee.
General Government, lines 1 through 57, total $1,083,938. Public Safety, lines 58 through 91, total $2,060,033. Schools, lines 92 through 96, $8,747,993. Public Works, lines 97 through 107, total $546,932. Health and Human Services, lines 108 through 119, $294,051. Recreation and Historic, lines 120 through 129, $297,606. Debt, lines 130 through 151, total $370,693. Insurance, lines 152 through 155, $1,371,676. Grand total, $14,772,922.
I second the motion.
Okay, it has been moved in second. I did not hear any holds on any of these line items. Do you have the motion? Larry, can I have that motion, please? Thank you. Thank you. Article 5, no questions? All those in favor of Article 5 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Article 5 passes. Article 6.
910.
This is the article, I want to make sure that everybody in here has not what is printed in your warrant, but the single page, front and back, Article 6 and Article 7 out there. Has everybody got a copy of that? Because the numbers you're going to hear are the ones that are on that sheet and not what is printed in the warrant. Okay, Article 6.
My name is Tim Toomey. I'm Chair of the Water Board. Madam Moderator, I'd like to move the town vote to transfer and appropriate the sum of $2,013,027 from the Water Department Enterprise Fund for fiscal year 2015. Items on the budget are as follows. Water Superintendent, $75,920. Business Manager, 0. Water Department wages, $250,729. Overtime and standby for the water treatment plant is $102,994. Other post-employment benefits are $15,000.
Unemployment is figured at $10,000. Collective bargaining is 0. Subtotal of that category of wages and salaries is $454,643. Expenses. Maintenance is $353,500. Engineering and operating labor is $30,000. Billing, contract services is $62,717. The subtotal of that expense line is $446,217. The new treatment plant expense, maintenance and treatment is $150,590. Private treatment is $25,000. Subtotal of that new treatment plant expense is $175,590. Other capital plan program is $46,500. Extraordinary and unforeseen expenses, we figure at $50,000. Subtotal and other is $96,500. Debt service. Pingree well principal is $55,000. Pingree well interest is $5,940. New water building principal is $10,000. New water building interest is $1,200. Water treatment design principal is $50,000. Water treatment design interest is $36,557. Water treatment plant construction principal is $454,508. Water treatment plant construction interest is $211,044. Water garage rehabilitation principal is 0. Water garage rehabilitation interest is 0. That has gone down from the previous year. Cost of debt insurance, not figured. SRF borrowing administration fee, $15,828. And the subtotal of the debt service is $840,077. The total appropriation request is $2,013,027. Do I have a second? Little explanation on this. The reason why it's not in the...
Can I, do you have the paperwork to
Yeah.
the motion signed?
Yeah.
Both? Yeah. No, I want the motion.
That's another one.
All right, when you get through, if you need to refer to anything, then give that back to me.
Okay.
All right, let me get Finance Committee on this article.
The Finance Committee recommends this article.
Okay, now you can go ahead.
Okay, an explanation. In the process of refining and researching our budget, the time lapsed for us to get it into the town warrant, so that's why we're presenting it here tonight for the detail that is necessary. Any questions?
Does anybody have any questions on Article 6? Seeing none, all those in favor of Article 6 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Article 6 passes.
914.
Article 7 is in order.
Madam Moderator, I move the town vote to transfer from the Water Department Enterprise Fund to the General Fund the sum of $89,449 for the following items that any other monies spent by the general government on behalf of the Water Department be reimbursed to the General Fund from the Water Department Enterprise Fund for fiscal year 2015. Items are county retirement is $22,967. Health insurance is $49,577. Life insurance is $171. Accountant fee is $3,480. Treasurer collector's fee is $5,012. Audit, $1,650. Medicare is $6,592 for the total amount of $89,449. Do I have a second?
The Finance Committee recommends this article.
Are there any questions regarding Article 7? All those in favor of Article 7 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Article 7 passes.
916.
Article 8.
Madam Moderator, I move the town vote to transfer $572,380 from the Water Department enterprise free cash to the Water Department Stabilization Fund. Do I have a second?
The Finance Committee recommends this article.
Thank you.
Are there any questions on Article 8? All those in favor of Article 8 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Article 8 passes. Article 9.
Line 16.
Madam Moderator, Articles 9 through 12,
Okay, go ahead.
standard article, annual articles. I move the town vote to authorize the following accounts and their uses as printed in Articles 9 through 12 on page 10 in the May 5th, 2014 annual town meeting warrant. Article 9, Municipal Light Board, Municipal Lighting Plant Annual Appropriation. Article 10, Harbor Master Municipal Waters Maintenance and Improvement Fund. Article 11, Cemetery Commissioners Perpetual Care Trust Interest Account. Article 12, Board of Assessors Recertification Fund.
Second.
Okay. Articles 9 through 12, Finance Committee.
The Finance Committee recommends these articles.
Are there any questions on these Articles 9 through 12? Seeing none, all those in favor of Articles 9 through 12 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Articles 9 through 12 pass.
918.
Article 13.
Madam Moderator, I move the town vote pursuant to the provisions of Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 44, Section 53E and 1/2, to authorize the following revolving funds and their uses for fiscal year 2015. I'll list the name of accounts and then the expenditure cap afterwards. The Council on Aging, $5,000. Board of Health, $20,000. Parks and Recreation Committee and the Board of Selectmen, $30,000. Parks and Recreation Committee and Board of Selectmen, $5,000. Board of Selectmen, $2,000. Highway Department, $12,000. Shellfish Department, $6,000. Zoning Board of Appeals and Board of Appeals, $4,000. Board of Cemetery Commissioners, $20,000. Library, $2,500. Agricultural Committee, $1,000. Harbor Master, $30,000. 375th Anniversary Committee, $20,000.
Second.
Finance Committee recommends this article.
Are you going to give a grand total, Dave? Or no? No. Okay. Are there any questions on these 13 accounts that were listed? Seeing none, all those in favor of Article 13 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Article 13 passes.
919.
Article 14.
Susan Elwell, 12 Bennett Hill Road, Board of Health. Madam Moderator, I move the town vote to transfer and appropriate the sum of $53,439 from the Massachusetts Water Pollution Abatement Trust Septic Betterment Loan Program to pay the debt service on the town's loan from the Massachusetts Water Pollution Abatement Trust. Second.
Okay. Article 14's been moved in second. Finance Committee?
Finance Committee recommends this article.
Are there any questions on Article 14? Seeing none, all those in favor of Article 14 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Article 14 passes.
920.
Article 15.
Madam Moderator, I move the town vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $8,934 to be used by the Board of Selectmen to cover the cost for the town's participation in the Merrimack Valley Planning Commission Pictometry Program.
Second.
Okay, Article 15, Finance Committee.
Finance Committee recommends this article.
Are there any questions on Article 15?
Could I just make a comment, Matt?
Yes, you can.
Pictometry is a great tool for the town, and every 3 years that they'll come through and they do pictures. It's very, very similar to Google Earth, but it's a little bit more in detail and go 3D, and that's one of the things we get from the Merrimack Valley Planning Commission. And it's a great tool for the town, and we use it in a number of ways. So.
All right. Any questions? Article 15, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Article 15 passes. Article 16.
921.
Bill Demento, Chairman of the Board of Assessors. I move the town vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $9,000 to be used by the Board of Assessors to upgrade the Vision Appraisal System server and appraisal and mapping software programs. Second.
Finance Committee on Article 16.
Finance Committee recommends this article.
Are there any questions or any explanation needed on Article 16? Seeing none, all those in favor of Article 16 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
922.
Unanimous. Article 16 passes. Article 17.
Madam Moderator, Article 17, I move the town vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $1,300 for the purchase of an outdoor collection lockbox at the town hall for the treasurer collector.
Second.
Finance Committee on Article 17.
Finance Committee recommends this article.
Any questions or anything on Article 17? All those in favor of Article 17 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Article 17 passes.
923.
Article 18.
Madam Moderator, I move the town vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $13,500 to be used by the police chief to hold an assessment center for the appointment of a lieutenant, a sergeant, and to cover the cost to send 2 patrolmen to the police academy.
Second.
Okay, Article 18 has been moved in second. Finance Committee?
The Finance Committee recommends this article.
Chief, would you like to comment on this?
I will comment briefly, Robert Barker, Chief of Police. We're going to have a retirement of my second-in-command in December, and we're going to need to replace him, and that's going to create promotions from within. And the best way to do that is to find the best candidate is to use an assessment center where the candidates are put in through a rigorous test to see how they perform. The second thing is, since we're having retirements, we're going to need to replace the patrolman as well, and it costs us $3,000 apiece to put the patrolman through police academy.
All right, thank you. Are there any questions regarding this Article 18? All those in favor on Article 18 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Article 18 passes.
924.
Article 19 is in order.
Madam Moderator, I move the town to vote and raise and appropriate the sum of $26,252 to be used by the police chief to purchase a new unmarked vehicle.
Second.
The Finance Committee recommends this article.
All righty.
Very briefly again, this will replace a 2009 Dodge that has 75,000 miles on it, has been very unreliable, and we shouldn't have to replace another car, an administrative car, for another 2 or 3 years.
Are there any questions on Article 19? Seeing none, all those in favor of Article 19 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Article 19 passes.
925.
Article 20.
Madam Moderator, I move the town vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $2,000 to be added to line Article 7 of the May 16, 2011 special town meeting to be used by the Board of Selectmen to hire actuary consultants for the town's compliance with the Government Accounting Standards Board Statement, number 45, post-retirement benefits other than pensions, commonly referred to as OPEB.
Second.
Finance Committee recommends this article.
Do we need any sort of an explanation on this one? Or do you, being the,
I would ask the town accountant if she would want to explain it.
I think people need to understand what OPEB is.
Sue Bailey, Town Accountant. We are required every 3 years to compile a consensus of everyone in all the town employees that are either currently retired or eligible for health insurance when they are retired, whether or not they're retired now, plus all current employees that could have health insurance. And we need to add all this up and see what the liability is to the town for all this health insurance. It comes under GASB 45, a Government Standards Board, and OPEB stands for other post-employment benefits. So it's our health insurance for current employees, retirees, and actually a group of people who could retire but aren't right now. We have about 8,000 in an old article, and I need a little bit more to hire the consultants to do this work. It has to be an actuary. I'm not allowed by law to do it myself.
Cover it? Yep. Are there any questions on Article 20? Seeing none, all those in favor of Article 20 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Article 20 passes.
928.
Article 21.
Madam Moderator, I move that the sum of $180,000 is appropriated to be expended at the direction of the Board of Selectmen to pay costs of purchasing a 6-wheel dump truck with plow and sander for the Highway Department, and for the payment of all other costs incidental and related thereto. That to meet this appropriation, the Treasurer, with the approval of the Board of Selectmen, is authorized to borrow said amount under and pursuant to Chapter 44, Section 7, parentheses 9 of the general laws, or pursuant to any other enabling authority, and to issue bonds or notes of the town therefore. The Board of Selectmen is authorized to take any and all action necessary to accomplish the purpose of this vote.
Second.
Finance Committee
The
on
fi-
Article 21.
The Finance Committee recommends this article.
Madam Moderator?
Yes.
Just very quickly, this is part of our established capital investment program that we've done within the Board of Selectmen. We periodically have to replace vehicles, update buildings, et cetera, and it's time that we replace one of the old beat-up highway department trucks, and this will give us a new truck with a sander and a plow to replace some of the junk that's out there.
Article 21 is a two-thirds vote. I'm going to ask to see if there are no other questions. All those in favor of Article 21 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Article 21 passes. Article 22.
Madam Moderator, I move the sum of $735,000 is appropriated to be expended at the direction of the Board of Selectmen to pay the cost of purchasing a ladder truck for the fire department and for payment of all other costs incidental and related thereto. That to meet this appropriation, the Treasurer, with the approval of the Board of Selectmen, is authorized to borrow said amount under pursuant to Chapter 44, Section 7-9 of the general laws, or pursuant to any other enabling authority, and to issue bonds or notes of the town therefore. The Board of Selectmen is authorized to take any and all action necessary to accomplish the purposes of this vote. No sum shall be borrowed or expended pursuant to this vote unless and until the town have voted to exclude the amounts needed to repay any borrowing authorized by this vote from the limitations on total property taxes contained in Chapter 59, Section 21C of the General Laws, Proposition 2.5.
Second.
The Finance Committee recommends this article.
Okay. I believe there's going to be a presentation by the fire chief.
We'll make the lights again.
Okay, the lights.
The lights.
There we go.
Perfect.
Just ask and you shall receive.
Sorry for the interruption. I'm James Broderick, the fire chief in town. It's a little presentation that we put together for discussing why we need a new ladder truck. This is the current truck that you see on the screen right now. It's a 1985 Seagrave. We're the third owner of it. The first owner was the city of New York, and then it spent some time in Sag Harbor, Long Island. In July 2013, during routine maintenance, it was noticed that a ladder one had a bent rung and bent rail on one of the ladder flies. Ladder fly is the parts of the ladder on the main aerial. To fix the ladder, a new fly would need to be located to replace the damaged one. Due to the inability to locate a suitable ladder fly and other mechanical issues with the truck, it is not cost-effective to repair, due in part to its age, and is no longer supported by its manufacturer. During the research for a plan to deal with the ladder, it was determined that with minor modifications to the station, the new truck could be placed into a station bay that had 11-foot doors. This bay is in the back of the building. For those that have been to the fire station, the cinder block part of it, where the current bay where engine 3 sits right now, the plan is to move that truck over one bay, and where the kitchen was added on to back in, help me here with the guys that have been around a while, when we started doing the ham and bean suppers, take that part of the kitchen out, part of the supply closet that we have there, and those are two non-load bearing walls. Take those walls out, the truck would fit in the building. There's also a new truck that we've identified that would fit in the space. Past years, when we came to you to try to get the current truck, we said there was no new trucks available. That was the case back then, and that's why we went with what we got. Since that's happened, manufacturers are starting to realize that there's a lot of fire departments with small antiquated buildings, and there's a need for trucks that are smaller in size. There is one now. We had the demonstrator up here last fall. We did have it in the station as far as we can get it with the way it's set up right now. Just a little history. Ladder 1 has been in service to the town since 1949. When the town bought for the grand price of $1 an old truck from Ipswich. In 1973, the town purchased a 1949 Seagrave ladder truck, a 65-foot one. In 1984, we replaced it with a 1955 American LaFrance ladder, 100-foot ladder truck. In 1991, we replaced that truck with a 1967 American LaFrance. They've been getting newer, but they're still old trucks when we get them. Why do we need a ladder truck? Well, I've picked some of the visible landmarks in town. First one is the Baptist Church. The second one is the Congregational Church. The third one, for the native people, you would remember it as Yankee Village. For people that are new to town, it's called Rowley Crossing now, and that's out on Route 1. The bottom picture is you see the current ladder in work last summer, Town Hall, and then we do have some rather large houses that are in town now. Okay. We have 3 engines in this department. Each one of them carries a ladder, but they're only 24-foot extension ladders. They have a 14-foot roof ladder, which is what we use to get up on roofs and have us work up there without falling off. The ladder company that we have now carries one 35-foot ladder, 2 28-foot ladders, 2 16-foot roof ladders, and one 20-foot roof ladder. The ladders on the ladder company are longer. They can get us up past the second floor onto the roofs of many places, as well as the aerial part of it. Now, I guess the most important part here is what is the impact on my property tax? Engine One's bond, which is the truck we bought in 2009, is paid off this year. The ladder truck will be bonded for 5 years at an interest rate of 2.5%. The first year debt service totals $165,375, which equates to an increase of 20 cents per thousand on the tax rate. On an average valued house of about $370,000, this would cost the average homeowner approximately $73. In each future year would be about $2 less, so at the end of the 5th year, the cost is about $64 on a $370,000 average house. Of course, that reflect whatever the value of your house is, a little bit higher or lower. We need the truck. I ask for your support tonight, and if it passes, I ask for your support at the ballot box also. I'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Can we have the lights back on? Are there any questions regarding Article 22? This is also contingent, if it passes here, also for an override question at next Tuesday's election. This has to be a 2/3 vote. I'm going to go. We could do a paper ballot, but things seem to be moving along quite well tonight. I'm going to try this again. All those in favor in Article 22 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Article 22 passes.
938.
Article 23.
Madam Moderator, Article 23. I move the town vote to appropriate or reserve from the Community Preservation Fund fiscal year 2015 annual revenues the amounts recommended by the Community Preservation Committee for committee administrative expenses, debt service, community preservation projects, and other expenses, with each item to be considered a separate appropriation. The summary of the recommendations by category: reserve, creation and support of affordable housing, 10%, $5,534. Appropriations, administration, 5%, $7,904. Debt service for Brad Street farmland acquisition, $199,832.
Second.
Finance Committee on Article 23.
The Finance Committee recommends this article.
Are there any questions regarding Article 23? Seeing none, all those in favor of Article 23 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Article 23 passes. Article 24.
39.
Madam Moderator, Article 24. I move the town vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $150,000 to be deposited into the Other Post-Employment Benefits Trust Fund.
Second.
Finance Committee.
The Finance Committee recommends Article 24.
Are there any questions on Article 24? All those in favor of Article 24 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Article 24 passes. Article 25.
Madam Moderator, I move the town vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $200,000 to the stabilization fund.
Second.
Finance Committee on Article 25.
The Finance Committee recommends Article 25.
Are there any questions on Article 25? All those in favor of Article 25 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Article 25 passes.
941.
Madam Moderator, I move the town vote to accept under Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 59, Section 5N, the Valor Act, which allows cities and towns to create work-off abatement programs for veterans under Section 8A of Chapter 108 of the Acts of 2012.
Finance Committee on Article 26.
The Finance Committee recommends Article 26.
Are there any questions on Article 26? All those in favor of Article 26 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Article 26 passes.
941.
Article 27.
Madam Moderator, Article 27. I move the town vote to authorize the Board of Selectmen to sell a 24-acre salt marsh parcel of land shown on Assessors Map 29, Parcel 4, to the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, acting by and through its Department of Fish and Game for wildlife habitat and passive public recreation, consistent with and subject to the purposes and protections of Article 97 of the amendments to the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts for $24,000. The parcel is located off Dyke Street and has been declared surplus property by the Board of Selectmen.
Second it.
Article 27. Finance Committee,
The Finance Committee recommends Article 27.
are there any questions on Article 27? Yes, that was my question, so I'll ask it. Where is Dyke Street in Rowley? Let's ask somebody that's lived here all his life.
It's the way to Cowbridge.
Oh, thanks a lot.
It's actually down by Kittery Avenue, off the end of Kittery Avenue, out between Kittery Avenue and the old dump.
Okay, all right, off of Kittery Avenue. Ralph Estes? Okay. Okay, seeing no other questions on Article 27, all those in favor of Article 27 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Article 27 passes.
943.
Article 28.
Madam Moderator, Article 28. I move the town vote to authorize the Board of Selectmen to convey as a gift a 26-acre salt marsh parcel of land shown on Assessors Map 37, Parcel 25, to the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, acting by and through its Department of Fish and Game for wildlife habitat and passive public recreation, consistent with and subject to the purposes and protections of Article 97 of the amendments to the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. The parcel is located on Low Country Creek and has been declared surplus property by the Board of Selectmen.
Second it.
Article 28 from the Finance Committee.
The Finance Committee recommends Article 28.
And I think we all have the same question. Bob? Yeah, thank you, the end of Dyke Street.
Not far off.
Now, wait a minute, I'm in charge here, I need a little respect.
Low County Creek divides the two parcels we just acted on, or are going to act on.
Oh, okay, all right, sounds good to me. All those in favor of Article 28 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Article 28 passes.
944.
See, Bruce Todd left, Senator Todd left, he missed the best part of the whole thing tonight. All right, Article 29.
Madam Moderator, Article 29. I move the town vote to accept the provisions of Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 200A, Section 9A, relative to the disposition of abandoned funds by the town.
Second.
Finance Committee on Article 29.
The Finance Committee recommends Article 29.
Okay. Any questions on Article 29? All those in favor of Article 29 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Article 29 passes.
945.
Okay. Article 30, I'm going to step down for this because it pertains to my position, and I've asked Bob Murray to take over Article 30.
Madam Moderator, I move the town vote to appoint Robert Murray to be appointed acting moderator during the discussion and vote for Article 30 of the May 5th, 2014 annual town meeting.
Second.
It's been moved and second that Selectman Bob Murray takes over for Article 30. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, Bob?
Thank you, Madam Moderator. Good evening. I'm here, but I'm not quite sure why.
Conflict.
Conflict of interest, and she's right by doing that. She really is. Next article is Article 30.
Mr. Moderator, I move the town vote to change the term of office of the town moderator by adopting the following general bylaw. Town moderator, the term of office of the town moderator shall be a 3-year term of office and shall be determined by ballot at the annual election of town offices held on the second Tuesday of May.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Just a little history on this particular position. Up until 1913, which wasn't all that long ago, every town meeting, well, relatively, now we got to go back to 1639, okay? Relatively, when we had a town meeting, and they called them sometimes 3 or 4 a week, just to get things done. But they would actually appoint a moderator from the audience. And it would be a different one almost every time. 1913, they decided to elect a moderator for a 1-year term. And that's how it's been ever since. All the other offices, elected offices in the town, are now 3-year term with the exception of this one. So we're just trying to bring that one up into the same category as the others. So is there any discussion on this? Hearing none, I will call for a motion to change the elected time for the moderator from 1 year to 3 years. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
All those opposed signify by saying aye. Voice unanimous. Thank you very much.
9:48.
Thank you. All right. Article 31.
That's you.
Guess what? That's me.
I guess nobody wanted to come back here to be here again tomorrow night. This is great, folks. Thank you very much.
Madam Moderator, Article 31. I move the town meet in St. Mary's Church, rear, Route 1A in said Rowley on Tuesday, May 13th, 2014 at 12 noon to act on the following. 2 selectmen, 3 years. 1 moderator, 1 year. 1 highway surveyor, 1 year unexpired. 1 tree warden, 1 year unexpired. 1 board of assessors member, 3 years. 1 planning board member, 5 years. 1 municipal light board member, 3 years. 1 municipal water board member, 3 years. 1 shellfish commissioner, 3 years. 1 cemetery commissioner, 3 years. 3 trustees of the public library, 3 years. 1 housing authority member, 5 years. 1 Newbury School Committee member, 3 years. 1 Rowley Regional School Committee member, 3 years. 1 Salisbury Regional School Committee member, 3 years. Question 1. Shall the town vote to have its elected highway surveyor become an appointed highway surveyor of the town? Yes? No. Question 2. Shall the town vote to have its elected tree warden become an appointed tree warden of the town? Yes? No. Question 3. Shall the town of Rowley be allowed to exempt from the provisions of Proposition 2.5, so-called, the amount required to pay for the principal of an interest on the $335,000 bond issued in order to pay costs? Oh, I'm sorry.
Where was that?
$735,000. Maybe we'll get a better truck. Bond issued in order to pay costs of purchasing a ladder truck for the fire department and for the payment of all other costs incidental and related thereto. Yes? No?
Second.
All right. It has been moved and second. All those, any questions on Article 31? All those in favor of Article 31 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Article 31 passes.
9:51.
9:51. This concludes the town meeting. We'll have a motion to adjourn, but I would like to first of all thank the counters, even though we didn't use you. Thank you very much for being willing to do that. And this has to be one of the earliest we've ever done town meeting, and I personally would like to thank you. And when we finish, I would like everybody, if you could, when you do stand up, fold up your chairs, and the racks are in the back, which will help the janitors for getting the school ready for the students for tomorrow morning. So now I need a motion to adjourn.
Madam Moderator, I move the town vote to adjourn the May 5th, 2014 Annual Town Meeting.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved in second. All those in favor of adjourning the meeting signify by saying aye. Thank you, and good night.